Okay, part 3 of 3 for DOGE. Take 2. So, I figure I introduce you to me personally. It worked good in the last one, so good place to start. I got long hair. Not necessarily a freak. And I got a weird beard. Dirty clothes. Yeah, got dirty clothes too. Don't invite me to the Oval. I put on clean clothes, but I want to put on no tie. Now, about the hair, well, about the dirty clothes and the beard. My wife died some years back, and she didn't have a whole lot of religion. She died of cancer, so it was a long, drawn out thing. I took care of her and everything. So, I died when I was a little kid for a few minutes, and you know, it was a pretty big experience, and she'd heard about it. But the closer she got to dying, the more like. I was saying, well, we'll get you a preacher in here so you can get a little religion, but in case you turn into a ghost, I'll be looking out for you. Be okay if you hang out with me. It's like I don't know what's really out there, but I saw a lot of weird crap. A lot of weird stuff. Stuff that wasn't in the book, stuff I wasn't learning in church. I was like, whoa, man. So one day, a lot of weird stuff happened around here. Well, weird stuff happens around here anyway. And so, then it was like the pipe bust over top of the water heater in the basement, And so, I'm down there messing with it, shutting off the water to the house and having trouble with that. And then the toilet tank falls off the wall while I'm down there. I hear something, noise, and whatever, and trying to finish what I'm doing, go see what the heck the noise was. And I still had the cat, so next thing I know, I hear water all running down through the floor, running down through the vent. I'm like, uh-oh, what the hell? I go run upstairs, the tank's on the floor, the water's squirting out all over the place, and then I would go to the water company, I gotta redo the pipes. I need to shut off at the main on the street. Need one of your guys to come out here and shut it off. Well, who the hell are you? I was like, oh yeah, the account's in my wife's name. She's dead. Well, we got to see a birth certificate before we do anything. All right, so I'm gonna send them a death certificate. And then they said, well, screw you anyway. I'm like, what? And I didn't feel like arguing with them. I got a well. And I went out and shut it off myself. And meanwhile, a few weeks go by. I don't shower because my wife's not here and neither is anybody else. I'm not a real likable person. So, I don't get a lot of company. And I don't smell me, so, it's like a few weeks went by without bathing, and lo and behold, my dandruff healed. My dandruff, the itchy fungus down there, my smelly feet, all that stuff went away. I was like, okay, maybe this is a sign or not or whatever, but and I did. I bathed with the well water for a little while, even though it's just like the garden hose. But it got to where like I ain't going back to the city water eventually got out of. Once I got away, well, because I did some soap with the hose, and then I got all itchy. It's like that's like the soap is the problem, or the soap and the city water. Anyway, so I quit it all, and my hair got greasy. Everything. Oh, it come out of my skin. My clothes get all nasty and greasy. I was like, well, I guess this is stuff I'm supposed to be washing off, And, but after about a year and a half of changing my sheets and changing my clothes and all this nasty brown crap washing out of it and everything, I mean, I didn't think much of it. It's just, well, that's just the way it is. I ain't showering. It went away. All the greasy stuff went away, and my scalp healed up. Like it stopped itching, but there was all these little scale. I guess like I figured it was just healing up after all the dandruff since I was a little kid and stuff, Meanwhile, my beard's growing out, and I was wanting to grow a beard. I was a clean shaven fella, but I got better things to do than shave all the time, so it get fuzzy, and I was like, oh, just let it beard up for a little while, I'll shave it after a while, and then I go, hey, see how long I can grow it, and then, it gets too itchy and nasty and blistery, man, cut it all off again, let it heal up, and then after a while, I'll neglect shaving again, and then we'll go through the whole process. Well, this time it's growing down, and it's like my face is clean, So it's like, well, I can finally grow that beard, So it gets long and long. Well, when it gets down around here, it gets hung up on it. It gets hung up on everything. You can't turn your head without getting caught. It's like, oh. This biker told me about it one time. Why he had his beard braided, He's like, he wasn't trying to look like some kind of Barney badass with a braided beard. He's like, when it gets beyond a certain length, it's dangerous. It gets stuck on everything. It's like, but braiding it up, and then I unbraid it when I want to go out and look pretty, look like ZZ Top or something. So, so I started braiding it, and then that helps it even grow even longer. So that explains this. Because I kept getting hung up on projects in the yard, and I got in a dangerous one day. I was like, man, but I don't want to shave the beard. It's like, remember the old biker boy? And I said, oh, yeah, I'll start. So I start braiding it, and it gives me something to do when I'm taking a dump in the morning, braid my beard, and comb it all out and everything. And well, the other thing, too, is, hair, right? Okay, see, I'm a little kid, and I step on a yellow jacket nest, and I get stung 40 times. Running home, bees chasing me, Dad, help. Get home, and Dad says, you better go lay down and not move, boy, you might die. And I went and laid down, didn't move, and I died. And then I'm like, walking around, and my body's laying there all white, and I'm walking around like a ghost. That's why I was, told my wife about that. It's like, I don't know if that happens, you'll be walking around here, and, I'll be looking for you, Show me a sign. And pipes bust. Scalp heals up because I don't bathe. Anyway, so I get stung by these 40 bees, and I see stuff that ain't not getting taught in church or nothing. And so, that was, interesting. But see, the other thing is I got gout toe from it. Because my kidneys got damaged by all that bee poison and stuff. And now the thing about gout is a lot of people get it is because they got a blood disorder. And so their kidneys working overtime trying to clean their blood up. And so it sidelines uric acid. And so you get a buildup of uric acid in your body, and then the crystals, they sink to the lowest point in your body. Down to your feet, and then it tends to make the toe big, the joint for the big toe, because that I think it's because you stub it or you kick with it, and so it's got like some damaged cartilage in there, and then uric acid crystals build up. Well, see, the thing is, though, uric acid also it's like it's an antiseptic for your body. It cleans out all the dead blood cells. Your body's constantly generating new blood cells, new cells, tissue cells, bones. Everything in your body is constantly regenerating, and the uric acid is removing the dead stuff. And it's like urine, yellow in the pee, and it's like it's flushing this stuff out of you, including brain cells. And the faster that your brain can process cells out, the more information it can process. And so now if you've got high uric acid levels because you've got like diabetes or some blood disorder, then the fact that you have high uric, see, that affects your brain too. So what they say is that like if you've got just a kidney disorder but your blood's fine, but the kidney disorder is causing high uric levels but no other blood disorders, then you get more uric acid in the brain, which processes more brain cells. And then the theory and the studies that confirm it now, but the theory goes back a few centuries, that gout, a lot of geniuses had gout. And now they theorize this because you're able to process more information because the high uric acid levels flush out more brain cells. But if you've got a blood disorder, it kind of moots that point, because the blood disorder also clouds your brain processing process, but if you've, so so that's what I had, right? And so meanwhile, I'm okay. I got over the bee sting thing. I rose back to life and all that, but now I'm like real smart, like I'm still stupid, but I'm also, it's like a stupid kid who found a supercomputer or something, and it was like a toy, like. And to keep it entertained, I'd read newspaper. I was delivering newspapers, and then I said, well, every morning I finish my newspaper out, and then I read the newspaper front to back. and then I started delivering. I took over for another guy for a few days and did the Washington Star and the Washington Post, the liberal and conservative paper. And so I read both of them, and I started saying, oh wow, look, they have a different views of the same story. So then I start reading. I told my dad, let's get the Washington Star too, and he's like, it wasn't hard to talk him into it. He said, well, you have to deal with all the extra paper, because back then you wind up with big stacks of paper in your house from just one newspaper. I said, all right. So, we do the the newspaper recycling runs, to get rid of so anyway, so I'm reading both sides because it was like I got a better picture of everything. Now at the same time, my dad, he's CIA, and I don't know it. So I'm coming to him like, because now I'm all smart and shit. I'm like stupid smart. Hey, Dad, check this out about some crazy shit going on in D.C. or around the world. To engage him in intelligent conversation. And then like there was a couple times he would tell me something that's like, I didn't read anything like that. Like, where'd he get that from? It kept bothering me. I go to the library, and then couldn't find that. And then it's like it was after, on different stories, that I started reading the editorials. And see, the thing is, the editorials back then would be like, when there's redactions, when there's missing links in the story that they're feeding everybody else, and I done read everything about that I could about it, and it's like something ain't adding up. It's like, yeah, but keep reading the editorials, and sooner or later somebody's gonna fill in that gap. Somebody who's closer to intelligence. And so I started, following the fucking Washington from that perspective with my stupid, average, regular guy, kid who gets in a lot of trouble and doesn't like to do homework with my super brain. And so that become my thing, like reading both the newspapers and then reading the editorials, going to the library and then figuring out and then taking it to my dad, and like seeing what he would say. And I didn't know he was CIA, but he knew a lot. But he helped fuel it because he knew a lot of stuff that he gave me clues, and I'm like, where's he get this stuff from? But anyway, I mean that came out later, but the point is I'm like, still got my super brain. I'm still stupid. I still get in a lot of trouble. I know, I still follow Washington the same way. Well, now we got the intel. I mean, I know a lot more now because there's a lot more information out there, but I mean, I know where all the bodies are buried since I was a little kid, I mean, and I pick up on particular stories and follow them, and like for years though, it's like always, like keep track of stuff like a soap opera or something, so like. And I got older, I got I'd go out and start making trouble for these morons, running around D.C., asking stupid questions, and bothering people, and, writing stuff and leaving it where it would, and then go read the newspaper and say, hey, look, I got them, it's like I figuring out how to get them all nervous behind the scenes when they're hiding stuff. See, that's it. I mean, y'all know that yourselves, like what you're seeing, what everybody else is seeing ain't nothing fucking new to me, like you push the right buttons and they start acting stupid because they are. I mean, I knew that back then, like the stuff I would dig up would just lead back to these idiots, like what the hell are they thinking, like what they could have been doing. Even, since I was a kid, but even since Biden, why the hell didn't Biden do a good job? And so then Trump wouldn't get reelected. It's like Obama sucked. And then everybody gets mad because Trump doesn't suck. And then they brought Biden in and he would suck worse than anybody ever has. And then they're like, and then they're really, really mad because Trump got back in, and it's like, well, why didn't one of them, why don't they just try do a good job or fake doing a better job? Or it's like they just flaunted, right? I could never understand why I was figuring out so much stuff when I was a kid, because it was all like, it was not much less obvious than it is now. We just had to dig a little deeper, but no one would listen to me or believe me then. And that gets to this book that I wrote back in 17 for Trump, when Trump was trying to fix Obamacare and they were giving him hell. And so I dug up a bunch of dirt and I wrote the book and I printed up 300 copies and said, okay, now I'm going to take that to deliver it around the Capitol Hill to the congressional offices, because that's, that was something I did, is write up stuff about crap they don't think anybody knows about, don't want anybody to know about. I write it up and I go deliver it to all their offices and stuff and watch the fucking fireworks take off. So I said, okay, and And I called him and I emailed him and I got responses twice in emails. Yeah, no problem. You're an American citizen, man. Yeah, freedom of speech, all that crap. You can bring them books right on down here. Yeah, I was like, all right. Because before I used to get into a lot of problems. It's like, yeah, you can bring stuff down here and deliver it as long as it's not saying nothing that's pissing everybody off. Otherwise, your freedom of speech is a little different. So I'm walking. I got the first 50 of them in a suitcase, and I'm with wheels on it, and I'm walking it by the Supreme Court, heading over to the Rayburn building, and there comes this Capitol Hill cop I recognize. He done chased me off before when I was exercising my free speech and pissed somebody off, and he recognized me, and boy, he made a beeline. I mean, I'm just a guy walking down the sidewalk. Boy, they made a beeline over to me, made me open up the suitcase and frisked me to see if I had a gun, and they looked at the book and everything, and they said, okay, you can go. And then I get over to the Rayburn building, and when I walked in, the guards there, the Capitol Hill security or Capitol security, whatever, the office of building security, I could tell, they look at it, it's like, oh, they had this, there he is, look in his eye. And then they told me, you can't bring them books in here. You can't deliver them around. And I got email. It's like, nope, you ain't gonna happen, man. You ain't allowed to do that. I don't know who told you otherwise. Even though the head captain of the Capitol Hill cops who just got through frisking me told me no problem, and I got 2 emails saying no problem. These guys weren't gonna let me in, which worked for me. I mean, they didn't know I had it in email. It's like, all right. So then I came home and started emailing, and they stood firm, They're like, no, you can't do that. You can't bring that stuff in there. And so I was like, all right, good. Because I'm just trying to stir up crap anyway. I'm just trying to get Trump to, get that book with information in it that will help him. And just trying to find a way to get him to notice, stir up some conversation or gossip about the book or something in it, light a little fire. And it's like, so I sued Trump for $1 trillion for them not letting me deliver them books, and used the emails and looked up all the laws and the evidence and all that crap. And then, of course, they said if they threw it out, and then I was like, so I appealed it to Kavanaugh's court. Now, Kavanaugh was like Bush's secretary. When I got arrested by the FBI for nothing. Because I was exposing the real reason we were invading Iraq. And it was they're just getting ready to invade Iraq, and I've already screwed their game up pretty good, and then the FBI shows up and they arrest me and sent me to this judge who was like, before he was appointed by old man Bush to the bench, he was the lawyer for the same scandal I was exposing, and he was like part of it. He totally had no business on the case, total conflict of interest from a whole bunch of different directions. But they didn't know I knew about that. I mean, that's when I did it, when I committed the act that got me arrested, when I pushed it across that line, I figured there's no way these idiots are going. It's like they're not so stupid that they're going to give me arrest me and give me a federal courtroom public record to spout off in. It's like they know activists like that. You know, they'd love for you to arrest them, throw them into a federal courtroom because it's all recorded, and the news media don't mind looking at anything that's in a court record if it's of interest to them because they can report on it from the public record without getting in trouble. And so I'd say, but I knew about that judge, and there's no way they knew I knew about him. So I say, now, if this works, they're going to send me to him, and he's going to think I don't know who the hell he is. And they did. And I ripped them a new one, asshole to elbow, Ashcroft, every one of them, and Kavanaugh was the handler for the whole thing. And I can prove that's all in the Supreme Court case. See, that's the thing. See, it goes to the appeals court with Kavanaugh. And as the day inches down to when they've got to give it to a judge to rule on, all of a sudden Trump appoints him to the Supreme Court. And I'm like, look at this. He's running, you know. He's like he can't risk it landing on his desk because it's about him, you know. It's like there's a huge part of the book in there that's all his shit. So next thing you know, like then there's these stories start breaking. Bush sent 50 lawyers to the National Archives, digging up everything they can, cleaning up Kavanaugh's files before the hearings. Discreetly. But they pissed off the National Archives people, and they went to the news media, and the story started breaking. And, you know, it was getting ready to be the story about these 50 lawyers trying to cover for Kavanaugh. When that, the woman, you know, that said that Kavanaugh was trying to molest her or whatever, all that insane crap started, and the National Archives story just disappeared. You know, so it's like, you know, the Democrats covered, you know, for Kavanaugh by throwing a bunch of nonsense, salacious nonsense at him that would get the news media distracted from the real story. And, the Bush story went away. The 50 lawyers got their stuff and left. Nobody said nothing. And since it was all nonsense anyway, Kavanaugh gets made it to the Supreme Court anyway. So, and then of course the appeals court threw out my whole thing, and then so then I appealed that to the Supreme Court, where it's sitting now, which was all because I say, well, because this is going to get Trump's his lawyer is going to, you know, all the cases suing Trump wind up on his desk. So he's going to see all this, and whether he looks into it or not, whether Trump ever sees it, at least I tried, and I got it sitting there on the Supreme Court, you know, like it's sitting there, and I got the book. I still got 300 copies of the book, you know. So I thought y'all should know that, and then let's go over to the other book. Now you'll get PDF copies of both. That's about the slave graveyard and all the crap they pulled on me and something else. See? Because, well, there's the dump, the county dump is up the street, and then there's this other dump, and the other dump and the county dump. See, there was like Lorton Prison's up the street, and then there's the juvenile detention, DC Juvenile Detention Center, which both are closed down now. But the Juvenile Detention Center had a secret underground bunker for like DC, the people that start the nuclear war, the idiots in DC that cause whatever problem needs for the government to go hide underground, there's one of their bunkers under there. And then they used to have the underground missile silos here. There used to be nuclear missiles around this area in Fort Belvoir. This is like a lot of federals, heavy around here. And, well, I mean, they just, a guy like me that thinks a lot, like an asshole with a supercomputer brain puts together, they're building an underground city under one of them dumps up there. And that's got to do partly with the graveyard problem and the real estate people. Like they got the thing about when they build like an underground fall, like a place for our critical politicians and FBI, military, all the people we need to keep fighting a war after everything above ground is gone. They need them people living near the underground city so they can get there in minutes, And so that's, I already knew all that, like that's really what this area is, and that's why I'm having trouble with these people. And if they weren't such assholes about it, if they weren't morons, then this is my country. Matters of national security are important to me and everything, but they're not. It's Biden. You know how they are. It's like no. These are the kind of people that they got an underground city. They're like. They don't like, go ahead, Putin, start World War III. You won't get me. We're going underground. Like Kamala Harris and Biden, they'd be the first ones and Hunter Biden be the first ones at the gate at the underground city up there. And meanwhile, they're screwing with my life with these stupid ass real estate people and pissing me off. So I said, well, if I just talk about the graveyard, it's gonna be on their radar big enough. Like then I got like somebody I get accidentally run over by a car or something like that. It's like, well, I better put it all in there. So it's too late. Killing me won't change nothing, or hurting me, or renditioning me, or it's like, so I got a card to play. So I put it all in that book, right? Which includes, it's like there's a tunnel, an underground railroad between the city underneath the dump and Washington. I mean, of course, right? You're going to have tunnels coming out from D.C. To all the surrounding secret underground cities. Why not? Ask Elon. He's a tunnel guy. And and FBI headquarters is like right on the line between that dump and the White House. So that's in the book. It's like I'm showing the infrastructure along. I'm making a case for there being an underground subway underneath 95. That 95 is the noise from 95 is the cover for it being there. And so then I ordered 1,200 copies of this thing. And then I put out a few hundred. And like around the neighborhood at the bus stops and the library, stores and stuff. Just throw them around, It's like, let's make some noise and back off, Next thing you know, they said, the FBI headquarters is not coming to Springfield up the road from here anymore, which is really the best place for it because they got a bunch of other stuff like right there on that underground subway line. That are all pretty obvious. Like, yep, that's all critical stuff that would be needed, and that's I agree they're doing a good job there. They're probably wasting a lot of money like they do all the time. But I do got a problem with these swamp creatures that'll be going down that city. Going to be the morons that start the shit that gets all the rest of us killed. I don't like that. So they're saying. So now the FBI headquarters is no longer coming here. Like just as soon as my book's hitting the fan. It's going to Greenbelt. So I checked the site in Greenbelt. It's like if you follow the line between the dump, underground city dump here, through where the FBI was gonna be here, and a bunch of other stuff that is there, and go through DC, through the White House, and out the back of DC. The Greenbelt is on the exact same line. Where it got moved to is on the same line. I mean, right on it. It proves my case. It makes my case. It's like there's no way around that. And then the whole, I mean, I did a bunch of it. I mean, I'm not going to go in, and there's a lot more extraneous evidence, or I don't know, extraneous is the right word, but anyway, there's a lot of supporting, a whole lot, man, and I won't go into it here, man. I mean, it's like, boy, do I know some shit about that underground tunnel. And then here comes Eli with DOGE. And this is like DOGE Indian territory. And instead of doing an archaeological dig on the founding father plantation manor that they tore down without even looking at it, and did what you already saw to the slave graveyard there, they did an archaeological Native American dig, DOGE Indian dig, which there's a whole story about that. Like, they tried to, they salted a bunch of fake artifacts that they were going to pretend to find, so they could make it, so they could memorialize the park there, around this DOGE Indian thing. But I stole, I stole the artifacts, like, not necessarily stealing them. It's like I found them and I saw what they were doing, and it's like, why didn't they already find them? This would be the first place they look. Why are they digging up there? Why didn't they look? At least just look here, because it's laying on top of the ground. It's like, because it's fake, and he waiting for somebody to find it, because if he finds it, well, he's the one who put it there. He wants somebody else to find it, make them the hero, the story, and nobody, less questions and stuff. So I kept going and kind of I kept needling him, going back and visiting when they were doing the dig, and until I could see, he was like, till he realized I'm telling him I'm the guy who got your crap. And I'm giving him the chance to say, that stuff's real. Oh, you got some, it's like, no, he's like, because I made sure he knew that I thought he salted it there. I was like, why didn't you look down there? It's like right there. That's where it would be before you dig here. Why are you digging here and stuff's laying like within eyesight over there on the ground? And this would have been the place you looked. And so anyway, there's like this DOGE Indian scandal, founding father, underground tunnels, Eli digs underground tunnels, and he began DOGE. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do with this mess. But, and we need some underground cities, if they're going to have them, we should have them. So it's like I could deliver. I got 1,000 more copies of this magazine, but all I'm really looking to do is I mean, I've been come up with this whole way these people they have all this municipal waste issues and water runoff, like all the problems I'm trying to solve out there in the yard that they won't let me, like they're just like Trump. You ain't allowed to solve problems because that's not what they're about. They're about, who cares? We get to spend all the money. You're just jealous you're not one of us. And if our stupidity hits the fan, we got underground city. So screw you. That's part of the problem. And then I'm me, the CIA, the kid of the CIA guy who's always causing everybody trouble. But it's like, but I mean, I'm the good guy though. I don't go after it. It's not gratuitous. It's like, I would rather not be doing all that. I would rather I had this dream when I was a kid. I told you about it. Suburban plantations and castles made of trash. If they had just left me alone when I was a kid, I'd have castles of trash all over the world. You wouldn't have no recycling municipal waste problems. You'd have you wouldn't have food problems because everybody, instead of mowing their grass, they'd be growing fucking gardens and having really cool gardens to party in. And I mean, I had this fucking plan, except I probably if I went somewhere else. But I've gone other places, but it's like I'm needed here. It's like, I got to be here to keep up with these idiots, I mean, I've been waiting for Trump. Like, come on, where's the damn cavalry so I can retire from being the boy with his finger in the dike to keep the idiots from just spilling everywhere and just ruining everything. And you're seeing it, and you're like, now you're my finger. You're actually stopping them. But I'd feel a whole lot better if somebody would get with me and. I know a lot of stuff that I could make a lot of trouble for everybody with. That I'm not trying. It's like, I'm not trying to make that kind of. I would rather have other people at the table discussing the things that I know and then what I want. Because I'm not one of these assholes. I'm not the kind of activist that just wants to stir up a bunch of crap and say, ha ha, I did that. It's like, no, I wanted the world to have cool gardens and shit, It's like, I'm still trying to do that. I ain't trying to ruin the world. I'm like Trump. I want to build empires. I want to see us on Mars with Elon, It's like, I got, when I died from the bees, I had visions of the possibilities, and then I come back and trying to, and it's like, but like my dad, when I'd figure out certain things and tell him, he'd threaten me. He'd say, you better not talk about that. You'll get a bullet in the head. And I'm like, what do you, seriously, the first issue that got me threatened regularly by him was the first use of plastic in food. They added this polymer to bread to make it a better, to preserve it, because bread would go moldy really fast. Well, this would allow the bread to stay fresh for months, but it had plastic in it. I'm like, we shouldn't be eating plastic, and I started talking to people about it, and nobody was paying much attention. But and somehow my dad is getting word back from people I talk to that he don't even know. And he's threatening me with, I better stop talking about the people. But this was just the beginning. That's what I was saying. I was saying, if they're doing plastic in bread now and nobody's saying anything, it's like, this is back when food was real, and people didn't have cancer all over the place. And I mean, it was right when the 70s, when it was starting to turn into this fucking mess that Bobby Kennedy's trying to clean up, trying to, but stuff like, I know a lot of stuff, and it's like, it's my fucking turn, is my point. I want to be at the table with some fucking buddy. And some of the stuff I see y'all doing down there is like, look, it has to work. These idiots can't come back. You can't tiptoe around this stuff. You can't tiptoe around the stuff I know. And I can't go and expose the stuff I know without stirring up a whole lot of shit. But if I'm talking to you, I mean, y'all work like teams. You're like trying to get actual real stuff done. And you actually give a crap. You know, but you dance around stuff that's like too sensitive. You know, and it's like, I understand that, but it has to be handled. If you can't just try to create a legacy or and ignore like the Bush crap. You can't ignore the real problems behind it all. It's because it's a lot deeper and a lot worse than you think. Even that you know. You know, and there's a lot you don't say that you do know, but you need me at your fucking table at least to shut me the fuck up, at least to make me think something, because I'm not going to fucking sit here and watch you guys fuck this up. Hey, Lee, put me on your fucking team so when you fuck it up, I'm fucking it up with you. Or don't. What can I do if you don't? Well, then I don't even need the 11. I don't need those copies. I want to save those copies for posterity. I got stuff going on now that would shit that happens all the time. I can blow up all over the place. This stuff. I know how to go right through what you all do, like Joe Rogan and all the other investigative guys and all them. It's like, oh my God, I mean, I appreciate the fuck out of them, but they ain't goddamn, they don't fucking hold a candle to me. I mean, you know, they're stirring up enough goddamn trouble. I can stir up real trouble. I don't want to stir up real trouble. I want to fix the shit and get it behind me. I wouldn't, you know, I'm like some kind of heroic superhero, super brain, fucking intelligence, lone wolf. All I ever wanted to do was fucking put in gardens and build cool shit. I got ideas, scientific. I got plans for rockets. I got an idea. I bet you Eli would shit his goddamn bricks over. That's all I care about. And I get stuck with all this crap. These fucking morons. I want out of this. I want my fucking freedom.